All right, everyone, this is part two of what was just a very short first part. So this is part two, but we were interrupted due to some weed eater noise. You know what I mean? So,
And the guy's still with weed eating.
it's all good. Hey, nonetheless, for me, like I realize that sometimes, no matter what we do, you know, if you're distracted for a minute and you're like in a zone, and I'm building a metaphor for the tennis court, right? Because like if I'm on the tennis court, she always knocks on me because if there's like a car driving by, then I'll pause, and sometimes there's like 3 or 4 cars that drive by, and so I always bounce it 3 times on my first serve, and I always bounce it twice on my second. I've just always done that. It's just my thing, I guess. I never really realized it until someone over the years pointed it out to me. I didn't even realize it myself at that point. But I'll have to stop and pause, and if I have to pause too much, then I get kind of irritated. And then if I'm trying to like have a match where I'm like thinking and placing and bringing someone up and lobbing them, and then I get rattled. I get frustrated internally. And then I just start hitting it really hard, and then I lose miserably. So that's kind of what happened on that first show, in other words. So the weeder came in, and it kind of threw me for a loop because it was like really early on a Sunday morning. But nonetheless, it's all good. So we got through that point.
I'm glad I'm not that type of player. I can play through anything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who's watching, who's passing, who's making noise, which kid is going across. It's all the same.
Yeah, I can't do that. So that's a poll question. How many people that play the game of tennis that have issues with, say, you're serving, you're in the middle of a point. I'm not saying if a baby goes across your court, you're like, whoa, a baby just walked across our court, right? We got to stop that point. But I mean, if you're like playing and there's someone in the distance that wasn't there before, like you were about to hit the ball, then all of a sudden, boom, they're in your peripheral vision right when you're about to serve, or something along those lines, or some weird spaceship type.
That's a lot of tennis players, Justin, that are like that. I've seen a lot of professional players that get bothered by just somebody walking, in the stand. That's why I love the U.S. Open, because they make noise. You hear the planes, the blimps, everything.
Yes.
And you got to play through it. I mean, come on, play through it.
All right, so we're playing through the weed eater. Let's go, come on. All right. So the first part was basically an introduction, a couple topic issues. We were discussing there's a tournament next week that's in Washington, D.C. for men and women, and we're going to cover that. We got into the first viewer comment that was from Malfoy concerning how we started the game of tennis, who were the first players that we liked. I had a prop with a picture on it. So if you're interested in that and you're just seeing this, we only got through that question before we had to pause for the weed eater. And I think now we have another one on the far side.
You mean these people live the good lifestyle? They party and then they cut their grass on Sunday. Sorry.
Right, well, anyway, anyway, we're gonna see if we can quell or deal with the one in the distance on this side. We just got done with the audience on this side. So weed eater. Maybe we'll get lucky and get a lawnmower over here and another lawnmower on that side. So we'll see if we can go 4-4-4. All right, so again, Carla and I just did the whole dissertation on how we started playing, who we liked, who we saw when we started, and how that kind of came to be. And we kind of touched on that before. You already said you did everything on the first video.
I did everything, yes.
All right, so again, I got interrupted and I lost where we were, and I'm jumping right back into it. So just after Malfoy had asked, how did we start? How did we become passionate in the game? Who were the first players? Malfoy also, importantly, corrected Carla on a comment she made about Venus and Serena's age. She had the ages off, and Malfoy corrected that. Venus is 38 and Serena was 36. Carla missed that by a couple years. I knew she knew that at the same time.
I just couldn't remember. I remember Venus was my age, and I don't remember Serena. I forgot that they're only 2 years apart. I thought they were 4 years apart.
Yeah, so the weed eater has now returned on this side. So now we are dual weed eating.
And we don't have that much grass where we live. Yeah, it's very little grass each property has.
Yeah,
so
it's all sand. So for like 2 hours, we've had weed eaters going on now, and the grass is like, I mean, I can cut my grass with fingernail clippers less time it takes this weed eating session to go down. All right, so anyway, here's a possible poll question. How do Venus and Serena do in the U.S. Open? And who does better? Okay, I'm not going to get into that. I think at this tournament, I think they both have a very big shot. I think Venus said she wanted to play through what year?
2020 Olympics.
2020 Olympics.
I don't see Venus. To me, Venus should retire from tennis, but
No way.
I'd enjoy her life. Serena obviously will always do better than her. Venus had a great year last year without her sister there. This year, she's had a bad year.
Disagree totally. Venus is still, in my opinion, top five. Top five in the game. I think she might even be ranked close to that. I didn't even look up that. I want to say she's, what, 8 in the world?
Yeah, well, that's not top 5, but yeah.
I mean, you're going to retire. Come on.
You know what? She's going to lose points this year because she made it last year she made it to the final of Wimbledon.
Yeah.
She didn't make it. She lost in the second round, so she lost a lot of points. The French Open, I don't know how well she did. I think she did better last year at the French Open, or did not play it. I'm not sure.
Well, you just had Roger Federer that withdrew from the
yeah, but you don't lose
Cup.
a lot of points with Masters.
You lose 1,000 points.
He won it last year.
I don't think he won it, but I think he has a lot of points to defend.
That's not that many. You lose more points on Grand Slam. You lose about 1,000 on Grand Slam tournaments, not the smaller tournaments.
I think you lose 1,000 if you won an ATP 1000 the previous year and you lose. I
don't think he won.
Correct
that
me if
last
I'm
year.
wrong, but you lose 1,000. I'm not saying he did. I think Well, no, I don't think Zverev won it last year. I forget.
No.
I'll have to look that up. Who won the Rogers Cup or Rogers Masters last year? I was gonna shoot out there like Chilich or the younger Zverev.
I don't think so. It could be. I'm not sure. I didn't pay attention too much last year.
That's a good question. I should have looked that up, but that was one of those conversations that's kind of just popped out of nowhere.
Well, I don't know. Lately, Venus is getting beaten by a lot of unknown.
Yeah, no, I think Venus is still top 5 in the world. Still top 5 in the world. I mean, statistically, if you put her on the court with someone every day but Serena,
so she'll play 2 more years of tennis. You think she'll be in the top?
with her ability,
her disease?
with her ability to serve, yes, yep.
But if
her serve's on, she's like an Isner in the men's tennis at that age.
If she continues going to 3 sets, her body's gonna tear up quickly.
Venus is a great player.
She is. I
She's a
don't
great player.
think she's not. Her sister obviously has a better career than her and will last longer than her.
Yeah, Venus is one of my.
Unless she wants to have another child.
Venus is one of my best ever. And now we got like a train back here now. Sounds like someone decided to dig a ditch or something.
They don't want us to do the show.
Yeah. We got another hindrance over here. All right. So anyway, all fun and games. All right. So next, after the correction that Malfoy indicated of Venus and Serena's age, again, who does better in the U.S. Open between them? Who goes deeper? I know everybody wants to say Serena, but watch out for Venus. I like Venus a lot.
Yeah, you liked at Wimbledon. It didn't happen.
If Wimbledon started again tomorrow, I would like her a lot.
Yeah.
Just saying. All right, next comment that came in was from Z Ivankova, and Carla's going to read that, and Rajesh had a short discussion with him on this topic as well. So she's going to read Z Ivankova's comment, and I'm going to check camera.
Well, he says Monica Seles and Novak Djokovic were born and raised at different times in the same region, 100 miles apart. Discovered and coached by same coach, Jelena Jančić. Perhaps 2 of the greatest players that play the game, in my opinion. Yes, Novak Djokovic is a great player. I mean, yeah, they do come from the same region, right? I don't think that Monica Seles was the best player ever.
No.
I don't think you could say that with a two-handed. Is the ugliest style in tennis, not recommended for kids to play. Unfortunately, we will never know because she got stabbed.
We need her again.
I'm about to go cut the guy's grass for real.
All right. So anyway, so I guess we're being buzzed again. So I'm gonna continue, and if it gets much louder, we're gonna have to do a part 3. Very sorry about that. So where you left off is that you were saying that you did not think Seles was.
I don't think she's the greatest player of all time. Her playing style was not great. Yes, she won her French Open at age 16, and she was beating Steffi Graf, which was almost the only competition Steffi Graf really had once Martina Navratilova left and Chris Evert. I mean, we'll never know again because she got stabbed, but I don't think her game was the greatest ever. It's not a game that anybody should emulate.
Yeah, did he state that? Did he state that? He said that she was the best ever, his favorite.
Perhaps 2 of the greatest that played the game, in my opinion.
Okay, well, okay. I think because of what happened with Seles and everything else. I mean, obviously her career was, a lot of players they get to a certain point and they get burnt out. They kind of fade away a little bit and come back. Let's say Agassi, right?
Well, she didn't fade away. She got stabbed and had to take off years.
That's what I'm getting there. Yes, what I'm saying is some players have the ability to kind of get to their highs, then drop to a low. You think they're off the map, then they come back up. I.e. Capriati, i.e. Agassi.
Agassi, yeah.
So I'm just naming 2 players. The only thing with Sella, she wasn't really allowed to ride that wave because of the fact of what happened. I think it wasn't just a burnout and I'm going to get a new coach. It was more like scared. Can I walk out in public? Now I have a phobia. Now I have a scarred body and a scarred psychology and everything. So I think that Monica Seles could have been one of the greatest ever. And if there was such a title as an honorary one of the greatest, one of the greatest ever, I say it would be open for discussion because of the fact that she never had the opportunity, in my opinion, and from a coaching standpoint, to ride the wave, always biologically and physically and mentally healthy. I think she was on the wave. What happened was kind of on that fluctuation point, and then that happened, and it was like a complete wipeout, and she didn't ask for it, which I think hurt her. But could she have been one of the greatest ever? Yes.
Well, she came back and won a slam, I think, after that.
And
then that was it. And then the game introduced Serena Venus, and that was it for everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so comment number 5 came in from Stimpy Boy, I think.
Well, Rajesh said that also those were 2 of his favorite players as well, Monica Seles and Novak Djokovic.
Yeah, I'm with you on Djokovic, and I'm not saying Seles was not one of my favorite players, but the 2 hands on both sides was iffy for me. I would never really like to watch it.
No.
Also, too, if I remember correctly, I do not have this written, and I just thought about this. Is it not? Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't shoot me. But wasn't Seles the first really loud, terrible screecher?
I knew you were going to say it. It was. I actually went to watch her at the U.S. Open. I think it was like 1990, 91. And I went to go watch her. My father took us. And it was horrible. I mean, she was just starting up beating, she was like 15, 16, around there, 17. And I didn't enjoy watching her at all. That grunting is... I don't enjoy watching any player that grunts. Honestly, when Sharapova grunts, Azarenka grunts, I have to mute it. I just don't enjoy that. It takes away from the tennis. You can hit a ball hard and not grunt every single point. Sometimes you grunt when you're tired.
Yeah, my dad, who again is a generational tennis player, was 80 years young, has played it since he was young, his father played it, used to joke about the grunting on the women's side, and some on the men's too, but predominantly on the women's side. And he had a great idea, and here's the idea. Instead of having a tiebreaker in women's tennis, in other words, if it gets to 6-6, and you have to decide the tiebreaker, don't even play the tiebreaker. Bring them up to the net, both women, okay? Get a decibel meter and see who can screech the loudest and have a screech off. So if it was like,
well, you put Muguruza. She's in there.
Well, no, if I had a screech off, I would get Sharapova and I would put her up against Schiavone. So maybe you could have Sharapova. You could have a Wimbledon
yeah, and
screeching.
then Azarenka Muguruza could do it too.
So instead of having qualifying, save the women's bodies and do a screech off, and the highest screechers get into Wimbledon.
You know what's the sad part? That a lot of the juniors emulate that. They think it's cool. Like, I've gone to junior tournaments where my daughter's played a few tournaments, and I hear the girls already grunting. I'm like, you're not even hitting the ball hard. I can hit it back with my foot.
Yeah. They got a foamy ball, like a little foamy ball. We don't use those, by the way. We won't get into that. But even our 2-year-old, we use a regular tennis ball. We don't use any. That's another argument for another day. But you'll see these kids with like these, like 10 and under rackets and these like big orange balls, and they'll be going, ha! Oh! So like Bruce Lee up in here.
It's horrible for the game of tennis. It destroys it.
Anyway, I don't know how we got into screeching. Let's vote for screech off. Who would like to see the screech off for the women's side if it comes down to it? You know what? They may get better marketing for that. I bet you they get better marketing.
You know what the sad part is, Justin? That, when you and I play tennis over there are people that have no clue about tennis. No clue. Never heard of it. Or maybe they've seen it a few times, and when they drive by, they go, oh, eh, because they've probably seen Sharapova as Azarenka. Maybe. They think every tennis player grunts.
Yeah.
It's sad.
All right, so enough about that sidetrack. That was a nice turn. We took down that road. We're going to try to drift back on to the show at hand. So next comment came in from Stimpy Boy, and it was concerning.
No, actually, Rahesh.
Oh, Rahesh, go ahead.
Well, Rahesh says about the show that we had before is Carla's 100% right. Current younger generation in America have a lot of distractions, but elsewhere, in small countries, yes, they are hungry and they work towards the goal. That was one.
Okay.
Then he says Brit media and U.S. media also brings in Murray in all the commentary, but in reality, he is never the same line of the other three.
Yep.
And then agree with Carla, Murray's a crybaby, and yes, boring.
I agree with Rahesh basically all across the board. What was his first point?
That the younger generation in America have a lot of distractions, but elsewhere in small countries, they are hungry and work towards their goal.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I had that clear in my head. The perception was right for me, and kudos. I cannot find any holes in that because I agree with that. I have to make sure this comes out correctly. Where we live, and not just here in this part of the United States, but no matter where we go, it seems like it is harder and harder and harder for us to find any juniors. Now there's pockets and there's handfuls, but again, we did a video about this not long ago. It's really hard to come by, and I think it's for all those type reasons. And yes, with Murray, I agree with that. Not that I dislike Murray. I think he's a fine young man, I'm sure. But in terms of game and mental toughness, I never have even. Yeah, he's won a couple and so forth, but generally there was some iffy stuff going on with Djokovic. So he was always the fourth best. He was like the little.
Man, they should put Wawrinka as the fourth best. Not even Murray.
Yeah, I mean Wawrinka should be in that conversation always if Murray is. So is it the big five now? And then okay, if he's in there, who else can we talk? So and there's someone and I can't remember who that mentions the big three. What happens next and who's next? And
we'll get into that. Yeah.
Next Stimpy Boy, I think.
Yeah, he says, what about Naomi Osaka as the future number one? I mean, Osaka's like 20 years old. She's won one title at the Indian Wells this year.
Big win.
On hard court. I've watched her in a few other tournaments. Mentally, she's not ready yet. Not even close to being number one. Honestly, I don't see her as number one. She's got a long way to go. There's a lot of people that I could put number one before her. I would love to, though. She has a power game. I would love to see that. But with the women, I don't know. After Serena, I just don't know who could, take over her place. I don't think anyone will.
By the way, now we have a diesel truck idling outside of our house for some reason. So, another hindrance. We're still going to win this match, though. Let's go. Still going to win this match. All right. So, yes. With Stimpy Boy's comment, Osaka is the next number one. I have a problem at times where I'll see a player play, and they'll win a big match or a big tournament, and I'll say, that person's got the chance to be number one. I don't hit it home like I have. I think that Quaritch has a chance and some other players, but I've had that thought before. I had it with Osaka for a short period of time when she won Indian Wells, thinking, okay, well, this is something new. Now I got like a crane making a mating call, but that's a beautiful thing, but I don't know what that one is. All right, so after I saw, or we witnessed Osaka have this meltdown emotionally on the court and had to call Serena's ex-hitting partner coach out to sit on the sidelines and pat her on the knee. Are you okay? I don't want to be here. Look, I don't want to get into all that because then I'm gonna sound like I'm being harsh on the young girl. But I think in this sport, as we all know, you have to be so mentally fit and tough. Just mentally, physically, yes. And by the way, there are a lot of tennis players now that seem a little bit less fit, chunkier, bigger on both the men's and women's side. So I don't know what's going on there. But in my opinion, from a coach, you need to be proportionately fit and also mentally extremely fit. And when I see a meltdown like that on the court, and I forget what tournament it was, I think it was a 500 or maybe even a 1,000 this very early this year or late last year. It could have been the Miami
Open or
somewhere, but
it was a hardcore tournament.
Yeah, and all I'm getting at is could she be? Yes, but I think there's quite a few young girls.
Ostapenko has a better chance than her, and they're about the same age. Much better chance.
I have that written right here. Ostapenko. That's what
she's feisty and she's hungry, and I see I don't know why I see Osaka as Americanized. I know she's from
Yeah,
Japan, but I see
she
her
lives in Florida, doesn't
yeah, I
she
see her
live
very
and train in Florida?
Americanized. I just don't.
She has
Usually, Japanese players are more disciplined than that. I don't know.
Well, I think we've discussed this for a very long time with Osaka. This is not the first time we've discussed Osaka. It's probably the 50th. But for me, she looks like she has a Western and or a non-traditional tennis game. It tends to be moon volley. She can throw in the heat. She has a good game. Don't get me wrong, but I see your typical Coco Vandeweghe type game.
Yeah.
You know, it's very similar. I don't see anything new and artistic. I like Kazatkina a lot. She's a little bit older though.
Not much older, a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean
Kazatkina.
Kazatkina, Ostapenko, I like a lot. There's an American girl, Kenin. She's like 16, I think.
She hits the ball,
and she's Russian, but she's flying an American flag, and she seems to have a little bit more Eastern game, as I say. That's just my word. There's no truth behind. I mean in more of an American game, which has been subject for a lot of years, or a more Belgian.
Well, she's aggressive. She hits the ball. She hits every single ball. You know, I wish that we could see a player like Justine Henin come back. Somebody like her that had the one-handed backhand, that could come to the net, that could slice, that could drop shot. You know, that can change her pace whenever she wanted to. We don't have that. We don't see that much anymore.
Yeah. So for that one, I don't see Osaka as a number one ever. It's possible, and I hope she does well.
Maybe she'll do like Safina, number one, never win a Grand Slam. I don't know.
Like a Wozniacki, but she finally won one.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, moving forward, Osaka does train in Florida, lives in Fort Lauderdale. By the way, I'm no expert on this, and I wrote this here, but this is my quote, I'd rather put my money on another player like Ostapenko and have, let's see, my own kids go do their training overseas. I'd rather send my daughter to Spain, no offense, or to Germany or to Russia. I'd rather send my children to Belarus, to Latvia, Poland. I'd rather send them over there because I know they're going to get the proper discipline that they need and they'll have less distractions.
Agree.
All right, moving forward. AJ Malfoy brought up the comment after the big three. Who is next? The big three. We're going to do this one briefly. We've discussed it before, but not really.
Well, he says who's the next big three in men's tennis, or will there be no equivalent?
You're right.
There will be no equivalent.
Will there be an equivalent? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to pause here because this is a new topic. We have not talked about.
Right. He says after the three, who will be the big three after they retire, and who or will we have no equivalent? And my three would be Shapovalov.
Okay.
Would be one. Kachanov would be second, and Thiem. No one will be Roger Federer, no one will be Nadal, and no one will be Djokovic. We won't see that for a while, in my opinion.
Yeah, so we read this question, and I immediately went ahead and wrote in my three, and she shot those three out immediately, and I shot these three out immediately. I didn't go researching it, just immediate responses. I wrote down Coric, the younger Zverev, obviously, and Tsitsipas. My problem with those three, though, Coric, I thought he was going to be one of the next three like 2 years ago, I think, year and a half or two ago, and I still haven't seen it. He's got some wins, so I'm still got some hopes for Coric. Zverev has got a great game, but for me, his legs seem a little suspect going deep in matches. I think he needs to do some work, especially in the quadricep area. And Tsitsipas seems like a really fun young man, but hopefully he gets the diving out of the game. You know, diving for balls is fun for the crowd, oohs and ahs, but it's really unnecessary. Also, too, his body is still a little childish at this point, but as long as he can, grow into his game and grow into a body, put some time in the gym. I'm not saying a ton of it. I think there's a lot of players that don't spend much time in the gym at all. Like Federer, I know he does cardio and workouts, but I don't think he's hitting the weights.
Neither does Djokovic. They both have this slim figure. They're very. If you look at them, you were like, those guys can hit hard.
Yeah,
you wouldn't think it.
I would put legs under Zverev. I would have him if I was coaching. I'd say we got to get you with a trainer that can work on lean legs that are stronger. And I think the same thing goes for Tsitsipas, upper body and legs.
Yeah,
so those are our three. That's another poll question. If you could list anyone out there, if you can list three players that will jump into the three that are 1, 2, 3 and moving around after the Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, list them. But AJ Malfoy's big point is will there ever be an equivalence? I don't think so. I wrote in here that the only way that we are going to see an equivalent is is if something changes in the game. In other words, if some brand new type of style of tennis racket comes out that hits it. I mean, think about the context of it. When there was wooden rackets and stuff, you'd have someone winning 8, 10, 12, like men's side. Then the rackets change. You get Sampras that gets 14. Then they change again, and the strings change to polyester and even bigger heads. And now we're reeling off 17 and 20. So I don't think that the players are any better or worse. I think that as the game has evolved, there has people that have gotten that new evolution and taken it home. So until something else changes, I wrote in a couple things. Spaceship shoes, rocket boosters on your shoes. You fly around the stadium.
That's not happening.
That could be one.
No.
You might have. Okay. Number 2, battle axes and tennis rackets. Left hand battle axe, right hand racket, or if you're lefty, left hand tennis racket, right hand battle axe.
That's not happening anytime soon.
Okay. So these are. Another thing would be a teleportation. So you can like teleport to different places on the court, and then whoever guesses where you teleport quicker wins the point, and somehow the ball is within that.
Maybe within like 500 years.
Yeah, I think in our lifetime it won't happen again. I think after those 3, with what we're looking at behind them, will be very tough to overcome the likes of 13, 17, and 20 majors. I mean, when I was a kid, 15 for Sampras was incredible. Anyway, so that's my opinion on that.
I thought he had 14.
Who?
Sampras has 15?
Sampras has 15? No, Sampras has 14, yes. Checking camera. All right, so we're going to run out of time. So we're going to move forward. We had a new person that commented, and that person was, Wayne Chia commented before this comment.
Correct, yes.
Wayne Chia. What did Wayne Chia
There's
say?
quite a few more.
We may go to 3 because of the lawnmower.
Big 3, Chilik, Delpo. Outside chance, Isner, Wawa, maybe Anderson.
So, as I understood this from Wynham Chia, I don't know if he was responding to who is next after the big 3. Those 3 have been around for quite a while. So I would put them in the mix. The big 3 have been beating the Cilics and Andersons. I know Anderson just got one over Federer and so forth, but if that is saying, hey, these are the next big 3, well, they've been around, I would say no to that. However, he may be saying in response to another question about maybe his favorites to win the U.S. Open, and if that's the case, I agree.
Yeah, so do I. I agree with the Chilik. He's done it before, I think, and then Delpo, he's done it before. I think out of Isner, Wawa, and Anderson, I think Wawrinka has a better chance out of those 2.
I agree. So good comment. I didn't quite know how to interpret it. Rather, those are the next big 3 with the possibility of 2 more. If so, disagree because they're old, all of them, or aging. And then if those 5 players or the 3 and subbing 2 are your favorites to win the U.S. Open, then I agree totally. I think you have a really good statement there.
Right.
All right, moving forward is from a new person. The name is Crazy for Theater. I like the name. Carla's going to read it, and it was concerning our 2-year-old. They saw a video of our 2-year-old, Justin Jr., hitting tennis balls, which he does already.
Yeah, this was an older video, too.
It was an older video.
He said he's going to be the future of tennis. Genius.
So, hey, I appreciate that. If you guys want to see the video that Crazy for Theater indicated, it's back in history. It's just our 2-year-old hitting some tennis balls. So, hey, I'll tell you what. I know this is a strike of lightning chance, but we train daily. Maybe one of our 5 kids will have a chance to win 20 majors.
Tough.
Wow.
Tough for anybody.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. Much less even get to a qualifying round. That's how tough the game is.
Yeah.
I think even to getting into the college level of playing is extremely difficult. So let's just say we'll wish in one hand and still prepare the books and study in the
it's
other.
not. I guess it's hard to play for Division 1.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Division 1.
Yeah,
Anything else?
Yeah. So anyway, I was being all fun and games, but we'll try.
Yeah.
But there will definitely be a plan B, C, D, E, and F, and G through Z, and then we'll get into the numbers after that. All right, so great comment. Thank you for that. Next comment came from Isham, and Carla's going to read that.
Well, he says, I think Roger and Novak's styles are different. Federer has a wrestling style, while Djokovic is a mile runner and gymnast. And Djokovic saves more break points and crucial points. He says he's male, and he loves Steffi Graf. She is the greatest. Yes, I love Steffi Graf. She is the greatest. I didn't quite understand his thing about Federer being a wrestler or Djokovic being a mile runner. I see Djokovic, like you would think, as someone that grinds. Arantxa Sanchez is what he reminds me of. And Federer is so classic, so graceful.
Yeah, I first of all, I agree with him with Graf. Again, I still think Graf is my favorite tennis player of all time on the women's side. Remember, I think Serena is the best of all time by far, but Graf is my favorite to watch. I disagree with the Djokovic and Federer comparison from the gym, only just on the verbs. I agree with the mindset, but the verbs. I would describe Federer as a ballerina and a gazelle, like Will Ferrell said, I think, at the Australian Open, right? Mm-hmm. And I would compare Djokovic to more like a grinding, like a cheetah that's just going to run and then rest for a second, then run and run.
Yeah, that would be good.
So
yeah.
I say Federer, not a gymnast. I would say Djokovic would be more of a gymnast. Gymnasts are so cock strong, gymnasts are super strong athletes. And Djokovic more like a ballerina or
you mean Federer as a ballerina?
Yeah.
Well, he did say gymnast for.
All right. So wonderful comment. I'm rushing it because if I don't get this in 33 minutes, then we're going to part 3, and I don't want to do that to you guys on a Sunday. So that was actually all the comments. Actually, so we're getting there. How much time do I have for the ending? Sorry. All right. So I got about 2 minutes. All right, so real quick poll question: was it smart for Federer to pull out of the Rogers Cup, or is he scared to face Nadal? I think I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Let's comment about it. Roger took the Australian Open this year, right, and hasn't really done anything since. He's lost to Coric. He's lost to I forget off the top of my head, but who did he lose to besides Coric? He lost to Anderson and down up 2 sets, and now he's taking time off again. Is it a big deal at this point? Are we seeing a change here? Is he scared to play Nadal? Does this have any implications for his U.S. Open run?
No, he's just getting older. He's being smarter.
Is he scared to play Djokovic now? Is he scared to play Nadal or Djokovic right now?
None of those guys are ever scared to play to anybody.
All right, so today we had a final in Atlanta, Isner versus Harrison.
Woo-hoo.
That's not a surprise. I think they've played each other in the finals.
We mentioned this in the first one, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I think before this tournament even started, like a month ago, I think we were like, well, are we going to cover Atlanta or not? And I think you were like, or I was like, well, it'll probably be Isner and Harrison in the final. I think we might have forecasted that a month ago before the draws even came out. And that's what happened. No disrespect to either player. I don't see either of them going deep at the U.S. Open. Isner might make a quarter, but that's about it. Nick Kyrgios walks off the court again. I put this at the end because it deserves almost 0 time in my book. Nothing new. What's going on with this guy? I don't know what's happening. A lot of talent. He could be the next #1, but unfortunately,
don't even say that.
That mentality won't get him. That mentality will ruin his career. We've seen it before. So thanks everyone for watching. All 5 of our kids are back. We are going out to the courts today, barring the storm doesn't come. And my 80-year-old father, her father-in-law, and their grandfather is coming today to coach. So we hope to have a good day out there. If I can film something, I will. He's pretty intense, so we'll probably be hands-on feeding the whole time while he's rather loud and being fun, and we respect that. So we have a website now, www.5ktennis.com. We're fiddling with it, but if you want to check it out, you can. But again, it's at the beginning stages, but it is active. Click a like below, subscribe below. Thanks again. And as Carla always says,
adios.
Wait, let's see how much time we got. Yeah, we're right on time. I thought I might have missed it up. But seriously, thanks everybody. It's really a joy to do this. We put work into it. I think our note stack is about like this, and I've been saving it. And I'll do some racket stringing and some coaching stuff soon. So thanks everybody so very much. We have a great time.